Vixen. Part 2. The Unraveling. Vixen walked into the studio. The space was nothing like she expected. No opulence, no grandeur, just space and silence. High ceilings. Walls splashed in unfinished strokes of ochre and deep blue. No gold. No glimmer. Just the scent of oil paints, turpentine, and raw creativity. Julius stood at the far end, his back to her, a brush in hand, lost in his own world. He had invited her here, and yet he did not turn, did not greet her. Instead, the bristles of his brush kissed the canvas, dragging slow, deliberate strokes of deep crimson. A voice, low, velvet, careless. "I was starting to think you'd lost your nerve." She let the words settle before tilting her head. "You think I hesitate?" Finally he turned, a rag in his hands, his gaze unreadable. "I think you've never met someone who doesn't need to chase you." A flicker of something unexpected coils in her chest, and she hates it. She steps forward, deliberate, measured. The air between them, charged. "And that amuses you?" she asked. He studies her, long enough for it to feel like something tangible. "No." His voice is low, smooth, certain. "It fascinates me." For the first time in a long time, she feels like the one under the microscope. He motions toward an empty canvas, a silent challenge. "Paint something." Vixen laughs softly. "I don't paint." "You control men like a masterpiece. You should be good at this." Her smirk doesn't waver, but something underneath her skin does, a quiet, restless thing. "And what if I refuse?" Julia steps closer. The scent of cedarwood and earth clings to him, so different from the clean, crisp colognes of the men who worship her. He does not reach for her, does not demand. He simply exists in her space, unshaken, undisturbed. "Then you keep pretending. This game of yours is enough for you." Vixen's breath stills. No man has ever spoken to her like that. And worse. He didn't say it to trap her. He said it because he already knew the truth. She picks up the brush. Not because he told her to, not because she wants to, but because for the first time in years, she needs to prove something. As the bristles kiss the canvas, Julius watches her. Not with hunger, not with reverence, but with something deeper, like he has already seen the parts of her no one else has dared to look for, and that terrifies her. The morning after the studio, the gifts began arriving. A custom diamond necklace, a limited edition Rolls-Royce, a signed deed to a penthouse from Tade, a yacht invitation, an all-access pass to the world of whispers and power from Leonard. Men who had everything, except the one thing they wanted most. And Vixen? She ignored them all, because for the first time, she wasn't craving luxury. She was craving a man who had disrupted her world and seemed to have disappeared. Yes, you heard me right. Julius was gone. No messages, no invitations, ghosted, and that unraveled her. Then, one evening, he arrived, without warning. No chauffeur, no entourage, just him. And instead of diamonds, he stood in her doorway with a single flower in his hand. She stared at it, then at him. Why? She asked, not sure what she was really asking. Julius smiled soft. Because it's you. Come, he said, take a walk with me. She didn't argue. She just walked with him. Zanzura city shimmered behind them, a kingdom of golden lights. But here, on the beach, everything was stripped away. Children laughed in the distance. Fires crackled. Fishermen sang their old songs. They walked in silence for a while, soaking in the beautiful sunset that colored the beautiful planet of Africa. And for the first time, Vixen wasn't the center of the world. They sat at the water's edge, watching the last sliver of the sun sink into the ocean. Julius exhaled. What is it you're really looking for? Vixen scoffed, tilting her head. Who said I'm wanting? She answered. I am not desperate. He smirked, his eyes holding something deeper. I didn't ask if you were desperate. I asked, what is it you want? And then it hits her. For the first time, this is beyond physical. He is probing for, and for the first time, Vixen had no answer. The gala. The exhibition was to be held at Eden's Vault, a secretive gallery nestled in the heart of Zanzura's elite district. Not the flashy, European-styled galleries patronized by the nouveau riche, but a place that pulsed with a different kind of power, the old money, the royal bloodlines, the artists who painted their souls into canvas, their stories woven into sculptures of gold-dipped ebony. This was not just an art show. It was a statement of cultural heritage, and Julius had invited her. The grand entrance to Eden's Vault was a blend of mystery and reverence, a transformed historical palace, its walls alive with bold strokes of history. Portraits of forgotten queens, abstract sculptures of power and seduction. This was not a place for pretenders. It was a place meant for gods and their muses. And Julius stood at the center of it all. Dressed in a perfectly tailored black kaftan, his dreadlocks tied back just enough to show the sharp angles of his face. He was a vision of effortless command. He wasn't mingling. He wasn't entertaining. He was simply there. A presence in the room that people gravitated toward, all wanting to be a part of the great artist. But the moment he saw her, something shifted. He locked gaze with her. Not a greeting. A challenge. The crowd was rich with elite guests, business moguls, southern royalty, cultural icons. Tade and Leonard had already arrived, stationed at separate corners of the gallery, both watching her, like predators scenting their prize. They had sent their usual offerings. Diamond jewelry. The finest silk dresses flown in from Ghanaian ateliers. A rare coral jewelry piece, specially designed for her by the finest craftsman from Tunisia. And yet, the one man who sent her nothing was the one she couldn't ignore. The night unfolded in slow, deliberate strokes. Vixen held court, her laughter like silk draped over fire, her presence magnetic as she played with Tade and Leonard, rewarding them with her attention, letting them orbit around her like stars desperate for her light. And yet, Julius did not step forward. Every time their eyes met across the room, he looked away first, not dismissively, but with something deeper, something that said, "Not yet." She was unbothered, completely. At least, she tried. And then, Nia stood beside him. She was beautiful in the kind of way that didn't beg for attention. It demanded it, effortlessly. Her deep violet silk dress clung to her like poetry. Beaded embroidery, tracing the outline of her curves in a way that whispered of royalty. She held herself with quiet confidence, unbothered, as if she belonged at Julius's side. Vixen swirled her drink, taking slow, measured sips, her fingers grazing the stem of her glass. Julius turned and looked at her. Not long, just a glance. A flicker of something unreadable before he deliberately looked away. His attention returning to Naya, as if Vixen was no longer the most dangerous thing in the room. Her grip tightened around the crystal stem. She should have been furious. She should have laughed it off. Leaned into Tade's whispered promises of power. Let Leonard drape his possessive charm over her like a cloak. Instead, she felt something foreign, something she didn't recognize at first, something that made her rise from her seat with an unreadable smile. Leaving her billionaires behind, and just like that, Vixen walked away. But was she leaving the game, or setting the stage for a new one? Julius had done what no man had ever dared. Turned away first, and now a new tension lingers. Was this the moment Vixen lost her grip? Or the moment she became more dangerous than ever? Because if there's one thing Vixen never does, it's surrender. But let's be real. What would you do in her place? Would you walk away and make him chase you? Or would you stay, play it cool, and make him sweat? And what about Nia? Is she a real threat, or just another piece on the board? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Julius playing Vixen? Or is she still in control? Let's talk. Like and subscribe for more Vixen.